Steal like an artist? Instead, learn from the artists who inspire you. That's what successful artists do. They grow their creativity by learning from the artists that they admire and respect. I'm going to share 9 ways that you can learn from artists who inspire you. Hi, I'm Paul from Studio Centrale, and this is the Humble Creative Podcast. Let's get right into it. 9 ways or 9 things for you to try that are going to help you over time, very organically, develop your own voice as an artist. Point 1, you are an artist. Why is that important? Why am I saying that, and how does that fit into this? You are an artist, and so you don't have to question what you are, and you don't have to try and be like an artist because you are an artist. So never forget that. Always hold that close in your soul, in your heart, wherever you hold things that are close to you. And reaffirm it from time to time. If you're starting to have some doubts, just say to yourself, I am an artist. That sets you up for everything else we're going to talk about today. Point 2, you do not have to steal like an artist. You are already on a creative journey where every step you take builds your skills, builds your voice, builds your unique identity. You don't have to steal. You're already on a journey that is giving you the benefits and making you a better artist without having to blatantly steal somebody else's idea or copy somebody else's work. Point 3, learn from the artists that inspire you. And you learn by asking the question, why am I drawn to this work? What do I like about it? So there's what. Don't just say, oh, I like it, so I want to do something like that. It's really hard to learn when you don't have a good idea why you like something. You need to be specific when you answer. And when you have an answer, query that answer. Say, yes, but why? So let's say, I like the color palette that this artist is using in their paintings. I really find it very effective. So the next question is, what do I think is effective about this color palette? And you'll get an answer then. Then you might keep asking. Just deepen your understanding of why you find somebody else's work inspiring. And that gives you multiple points from which you can diverge and learn, and then take something away from the learning into your own work. 4, broaden your scope. Don't just look at artists that are within your own genre or discipline. Look at artists from other disciplines. So if you are a painter, look at photographers, look at writers, look at musicians, as an example. I think you get the idea. You're going to find things in other aspects of the arts or creative endeavors that you find inspiring. You can't tell me that, well, yeah, no, you know what? I really like photographing birds and trees. And I know some great nature photographers, and I love their work. And if I were to ask you, well, what's your favorite band? Or what music are you listening to these days? Isn't it highly unlikely you're not going to have some favorite musicians or musicians whose music inspires you? Of course you do. It's great to broaden the base from which you're drawing inspiration and from which you will be able to learn from. 5, be open to being inspired. Recognize opportunities to learn and grow. Be open to acting on them whenever possible. The more threads you pull, the more diverse and broader your education is going to be, and the richer your creative life will be, and the richer your artistic vision will be. So that's the key. Don't wait for inspiration. Be open to being inspired. 6. Experiment freely. Inspiration is a point of departure, a point at which you can take something that inspires you in a completely different direction, one that interests you and one that is reflective of your own artistic vision. 7. Find your tribe. Your tribe are people who are learning and on the same type of creative journey. People that you are willing to share work in progress, ideas, struggles. Ideally, you will find people to form a little tribe in your own local community. Meeting in real life, I think, is the most effective way to build trust and to develop a deepening relationship with your other tribe members. Failing that, of course, social media is another possible place to find your tribe. 8. Share your work more widely, but, this is a big but, on your own terms and only when you're comfortable doing so. A lot has been made about this idea that is art really art if no one else ever sees it, and things like that. Austin Kleon wrote a follow-up book about sharing your art publicly. I think you always have to remember that you are in control of your creativity and you are in control of who sees it. First and foremost, your motivation to be creative is internal. It's something that drives you. It's something that you feel you really need to do. And the work that you produce, first and foremost, is work that satisfies you. So, it's art. I feel very passionately about this. I think all artists should share their work if they're comfortable doing so, if they can find the right circumstances under which to share it. So going back to point 7 about the tribe, if you are able to form a tribe, and I've been in a couple, they weren't very big, 3, 4 people, but a tribe that meets regularly, that shares work in progress, that shares things that are inspiring them, you're already sharing your work. The idea of it having to be shared public is a decision that you make on your own. It's an individual decision. It's not a one-size-fits-all. I've shared my work publicly. I had gallery representation for my photography, and I've done that. But what I really value the most is the times when I meet with, I have a couple of very good friends who share similar creative interests to my own. We meet around once a month or so. We show each other work in progress. We text back and forth, hey, this is what I'm working on this week. That is more than satisfactory for me. Every person is going to have a different take on this. Point 9, use social media wisely. Social media is another way to share your work if you're comfortable doing it. So that's the first part of wisely, is do it on your own terms. Don't immediately give in to, oh, I have to post every day, or I have to post 3 times a week, or I have to do this, I have to have hashtags, I have to have shorts, I have to, forget all that. Ask yourself, how do I want to use social media? Do I want to share work in progress? Do I want to do little vlogs of me in my studio? Do I only want to share work that's finished? You can determine what will work best for you. And I think before you get started sharing your work on social media, you should determine what the boundaries are. Now, in my own case, other than putting on these videos on YouTube, I have a social media account on Instagram, but I don't post there very regularly. I use Instagram to keep me accountable. So if I have a project that I want to work through in a period of time, or if I want to take up a challenge so that I can just, use it as a way to sort of freelance through a variety of ideas, I might use Instagram for that. So a couple of years ago, I did a 100-day challenge. And the 100-day challenge I chose to do was to make a small handmade book or zine each day for 100 days. How did I use Instagram? Primarily, I used Instagram to keep myself accountable. I announced that I was going to do this on Instagram, and once I'd announced it, I felt more responsible for meeting my commitment, which was largely to myself. It was a commitment to me. I was interested in making these 100 books because I thought then I would have a bank of prototypes that I could go back to over the next couple of years and pull out ones that looked like very promising ideas to take in further directions. After that 100-day challenge was over, I've posted very little on Instagram. I don't have a need because I have a local tribe that I meet with roughly on a monthly basis. And that, for me, is a much better way to keep engaged with a larger community. Okay, so those are the 9 points. Take from them what you will, discard the rest, modify them at will, modify them in any way you need to make them work for you. Let me say that again. Modify them any way you need to so that they work for you. And I just want to end with a quote from I just want to end with a quote which I'm going to have to read off a piece of paper because you have no idea how much I've been struggling today to get this recorded. Well, you may have an idea because it might show up in the final product. Okay, so remember, you are an artist. That doesn't mean you're not going to fall flat on your face or you're not going to have setbacks. All artists have those occurrences. And I just want to leave you with a quote that I'm going to read from Max Richter. Max Richter is a very famous and widely acclaimed composer who works in the UK. And the very first album of work that he released was a flop. It was such a bad flop from the point of view of his record company that they deleted the album after 1 year. This is what Max Richter has to say about this. He said, "I knew music wasn't a viable career option, but I also knew I'd be useless at anything else. So I just kept going. Actually, when Memory House failed in commercial terms, I did feel a kind of release, in the sense that I knew no one was listening at all, so I could just keep doing what I wanted to do because there was no pressure. In a way, it was a bit of a blessing." From that very humble beginning, Max Richter has become one of the most acclaimed composers in the world. Never forget, you are an artist. You've got this. You can do this because you do it on your own terms. Thanks as always for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope I'll see you again next week.